Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Can-Am SimSport. This is the DTM Championship Round 2. And it may not be how it looks. But we're at, and I'm going to explain my comment, Cascais tonight. I know it's spelled with no H's, but I looked up extensively to make sure I did not mispronounce it this evening. And sure enough, it's Cascais. Had some great exciting racing last week. Looking forward to picking it up this evening. Championship is already looking very good. Going to do my best to review the race results from last week, as well as championship standings during the practice session. So, patience as we get through it. Still learning everybody's name. And I believe they use RaceNet. And the names on RaceNet don't exactly transpond to the names in-game. So Merchant and Theo have both very kindly sent me all the names they can think of and their corresponding driver. So, looking forward to this. Should be a great race. Last week was a tremendous fight. Some really good racing at the front. And somebody in CASS pointed out, nobody finished on the podium in either event, which is truly astonishing. So we've now got cars preparing to filter out onto the track here. Cascais alternate circuit. Let me find my graphic here. Get on board with our current championship leader, Ben Graybo. He is leading the points this week, currently sitting with 171 points. And while we ride on board with him, we will take a look at the race championship, or the race one, round one, race one winners. So the sprint race. Finishing first was Nikita, and they clocked 66 points. Finishing second was McClure, which I believe is Heel Toe Hero in McClure. Heel Toe Hero, currently sitting. He netted 62 points in the first race. Actually, I'm probably just gonna go through the top 5 in both races. Race one. P3 went to Sturhaus, which is Connecticut. I'm reading that right? No. Sturhaus. Haas is, I guess Sturhaus is just Sturhaus. Right here. Yep, right there. He finished third in race one. Fourth place went to, a moment here. I have Dave Coors, who is right here, and nobody's out on track that the fellow that I'm looking at. So we'll jump cars here in just a second. And P5 in race one went to Something Fierce. So that was the top 5 in round one, race one. We'll jump to, is Hi-Fi out on track yet? He is. This is our driver in P2 in the championship right now. So, race 1 feature event. The winner was Ben Grabo. He netted 132 points. Race 2, or P2, was, and I'm going to apologize in advance if I butcher names, Mark Shine, which is Obscure Hi-Fi here. And P3 went to Pingu, which is the host of the championship here. P4 in race 2 went to Josh Colbreth, which is second place merchant. He net P4 for 108 points in the feature event. And P5 went to Something Fierce. Finished P5 in both events, hitting 102 points. Your current championship standings with 132 points, Ben Grabo, with 171 points, Ben Grabo sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Trailing behind by 11 points, Mark Shine. Right here, we're on board with him right now. Obscure Hi-Fi sitting in P2 with 106 points. Something Fierce takes out the third podium spot in the championship right now as he returns to pits. He's sitting at 153 points. Nikita, who was absolutely rapid last week. A couple unfortunate incidents cost him some finishing results, but Nikita, in race 2 at least, sitting at 150 points, just 3 points behind Something Fierce in P4 in the championship. Dave Coors crossing the line now. Really quick, 46.7. Looks like an outlap based off the times everybody else is placing, but Dave Coors sitting at 150 points, tied with Nikita for 4th and 5th in the championship. Pingu here, sitting in P6 with 147 points, just trailing behind P5. And I'm trying to... Waylon Crace here. He is currently sitting at 132 points in P7 in the championship. Second place merchant, Josh Colbreth, is sitting at 129 points in P8. Hielto Hero. Where he at? Where he at? Here he is. Currently sitting P1. Tonight, he is sitting 9th in the championship with 124 points, just a few points behind second place merchant. And you have to I apologize, you have to bear with me. I am skimming through names and trying to find people's driver. I don't think I see Kinetic Herb in here tonight. So Kinetic Herb is currently sitting in 10th with 111 points. Sturhaus in 11th with 108 points. Excuse me. Chill Blast currently sitting in 12th with 102 points. Joe Dirt had some incredible pace last week in both races, just had a few incidents that cost him some very important time. He's sitting in 13th with 87 points. We want to watch Joe Dirt. He's got incredible pace, so I am not at all doubting that he'll be a contender this evening. Tarka currently sitting P14 with 85 points. And that brings us to P15, which is Orange Hat, who is not... Right here. There he is. Orange Hat, currently P15 in the championship. He's sitting at 75 points. Who is that? One moment. Shadow Puck is P17 in the championship. No. P16 in the championship. P16 in the championship. He is sitting at 69 points. Nice. CB, also known as Flavio Barros, from Brazil, sitting at 67 points, P17 in the championship. I don't see Desmodou. He is currently sitting 18th with 41 points, Desmodou. And is... I don't see TJ out here anywhere. Don't see TJ, but he is currently sitting 19th with 36 points, and I want to shout out to Desmodou. Currently not in the session at the moment, taking care of some dog health issues. We all hope that everything goes well for him. And wish him the best. Hope the doggo's okay. It's always a difficult situation to be in. I've been there, done that. And it sucks. But it just about gets us through practice. And as you guys can tell, track is a little bit slick. We are forecasted some rain this evening. Not heavy rain, light rain, but it's enough rain to make these cars a bit more of a bear to handle. Nikita coming out to the end of the practice session here. Leading the field with a 36.930. Just a few hundredths faster than second place Merchant. Oh, we got some door banging and some nudging here, as Nikita forces his way through with Sturhaus, and I apologize, I don't know who else is beside him. He's kind of covered up over here. Nikita absolutely ripping it tonight. That was Rigatoni. Not sure who this is on the leaderboard. That is practice concluded. So in the practice session, this 10-minute warm-up, Nikita topped the field with a 36.930. Second place Merchant with a 36.965. Ben Grabo, the 37.038. Tactical Nuclear Pingu, 38.119, quite the deficit from P1. And Obscure Hi-Fi, he is sitting in P5 with a 38.647. And folks, that rounds out the top 5 in practice. Spiky Cactus, though, jumps to the top with a 36.540. We've seen Spiky Cactus in some of the ARL races. Dude is lightning fast, and certainly maintains that pace here. I do hear cars out on track. Tactical Nuclear Pingu trying to cross the line. He does gain time. 36.740. Chill Blast now. I'm sorry. And Z crossing the line. Don't know if there was any time gained because it didn't give me a leaderboard. NZ, Nate Z, went up to P8. Clocked on that last lap of 41.895. So we will be jumping to qualifying, and I'm going to do my best. Those of you that are from the AMS2 side of things, you might recall that, well, these guys run private qualifying. Perfectly acceptable. The problem with AMS2 and broadcasting is that I don't get to see everybody when they are in the damn garage area. So I'm going to watch for the first guy that kind of comes out of pit lane, and that will be who we watch, and it will be Soupy here. And it is properly raining this evening during qualifying, which will really shuffle the field around a bit as we watch Soup proceed through Cascais alternate circuit. Very tricky looking circuit, and he spins. To be expected on such a saturated surface. One might wonder. We really ought to be racing cars in this kind of weather, but folks, these guys are doing it. Just trying to get some temp in the tires. Find himself an opportunity. Ben Grabo still in pit lane. Throttle application and throttle control will be key here in qualifying. Corner exit, getting on the power is a challenge. Late on the brakes. Battling this rain. Truly a tricky thing. But he continues and prepares for his first flying lap. But we're going to jump to our championship leader right now, Ben Grabo. He's proceeding nice and tidy through his outlap. A little bit wide on the exit, but he keeps it in between the boundaries. It's very tricky to do in weather like this. The number 23 Goodman and Goldberg machine. I do wish there were more liveries for these cars. They do look quite nice. Would appreciate a wider selection. Everybody got their own. That's neither here nor there. Going through turn 9. Down the main straight. About the only place he can really put his foot to the floor. We'll likely see quite a lift phase, though, going into turn 1. As he is on his first timed lap. Hard on the brakes. Smooth on the throttle. Very, very gentle throttle applications, what you want to see in weather like this. Nice roll through turn 2 and shooting down into the horseshoe for turn 3. Doing a really good job managing the power here. Drivers are not going to have a lot of time to put down quick qualifying laps, so see a bit of a misshift there. Out of turn 4 and into the kink. Nice throttle application. Into turn 5. Very smooth as now the times start tumbling in. Spiky Cactus with a 48.272. Nate Z with a 450. And okay, Heel Toe Hero now with a 48.257. Most of these guys are going to get an opportunity to put 2 more laps down as now Ben Grabo coming through turn 6 and approaching 7. Through the chicane of turn 8. Rounds it, but opens it just a bit on the exit and around for turn 9. He will only get 1 flying lap. And it will be a challenge. A lot of these guys will get a second one. Ben Grabo clocks a 49.061, and we are going to jump ahead to somebody that is on track, maybe. Something fierce. I believe is our first driver on the grid that is... No, Heel Toe Hero is out on track. And Heel Toe Hero clocked a 48.257. About almost 2/10 off the leader. And he is currently pacing to take the pole position away from Joe Dirt, who just logged a 48.079. Beautiful, beautiful. Right through turn 8 and into 9. This looks like a clean lap from the 21 machine of Heel Toe Hero. Can he get it done? Can he take the pole? He will take the pole with a 47.467, and now Something Fierce tries to answer it. And he tries, but he fails. He does gain position up to P5 with a 48.584. And that is qualifying over, folks. If you're just now tuning in, welcome. This is the CASS Championship, the CASS DTM Championship, Can-Am SimSport. Round 2, we're about to start race 1. It is a half-distance sprint, 13 laps, at Cascais in Portugal. So welcome, welcome. If you're listening on Twitch, hope you enjoy. Drop a follow if you'd like. Got a whole bunch of this going on right now. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and check us out on Twitch. I am trial running my multi-chat dashboard this evening, so I can always see it when I'm not in the VR headset, but I'm testing a window to see if the window that I'm looking at will be VR compatible, so that when I am in the car racing, I'll be able to reach chat. Not sure what the little audio bug is in the background. Oh, my game might have just crashed. Game might have crashed. And I'm going to miss all the excitement at the beginning of this race, because the game crashed. Okay, we're going to try to get back in quick. Sorry about that, folks. Going to protect the password. Go to the BRB screen real quick. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I can only deal with what is given to me, and AMS2 does have its flaws. Love it to death, but it has its moments. Okay. We can go back. We're going to do the best we can here. I'm going to miss the first probably 2 laps. We'll be in lap 2 by the time I get in. So I apologize. The start is typically the most exciting, especially with the rain. But we've got Heel Toe Hero back out front. Joe Dirt back into P2 here. We are not all the way through lap 1, which is nice to see. Couple incidents already, it seems, that have put Shadow Puck down, way down the running order. This Heel Toe Hero really working to maintain a lead, coming through turn 7. Seemed to lose the most time in his qualifying lap here in turn 8, and the rain has not gotten lighter, but he has gotten brighter. Rounds that chicane much smoother in the race trim. Is now the battle between For Real, and Sturhaus seems to be heating up pretty close. There's a 3-way battle, it seems, for P13. Folks, there's battles all over the field. Tarka trying to hold off Nikita. And it is close. The fight further back between Orange Hat, Ammon Crace, and Dave Koers also very tight. And the lead of the race is closing up a little too, and I do believe we have a safety car. We do have a safety car. And does the free cam work as a spectator? It does not. So it has to be as a driver that is in the pit box. I think is the only way I can use free cam. Not sure what brought out the safety car. Looks like Dave Koers is in pit lane for what seems to be a pretty lengthy repair. Not sure if he sustained damage by chance. Shadow Puck, we discovered sitting pretty low in the running order at the beginning of this race. I imagine likely sustained some damage as well from his lap 1 incident. Heel toe, really going to have to start facing some pressure from second place Merchant and Joe Dirt behind in P3 and P2 respectively. And it will be a lot of pressure. Now, round 1, the safety car was very short. Not sure if that will hold true this evening. We shall see. As we round turn 9 and approach the main straightaway, I don't see any lights on the safety car, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's diving in, but it looks like he is. And racing has resumed here at Cascais in Portugal. Heel toe with a great restart here. Just trying to control the field a bit. And he goes way deep and is off the track. Very upsetting, and now Joe Dirt will take P1 and second place Merchant on the inside for P2. Gonna try to fight him going into turn 3. And he's gonna succeed. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of the corner, but he will take over P1 over Joe Dirt. And now Ben Grabo really trying to get around. Spiky Cactus behind, just nudging and door banging on the fender. Coming out of 4. So now the leaders starting to pack up behind P3. Corners are where these guys start to accordion in, folks. It gets real close in the corners. Everybody is being very delicate on the brakes. Trying to not lose control of their car. Somebody has gone around. That's Rigatoni in the back. Bangs the back bumper on the guardrail. As long as he can get the car pointed the right way. Didn't look to be a huge hit. For real, also sustained some damage either in the restart or earlier in the race. And Pingu not having a great luck either. Down to P17. But second place Merchant will complete lap 3 in P1. Joe Dirt about 4/10 back. And Something Fierce chasing Spiky Cactus now. Rigatoni and Heel Toe Hero defending and battling each other. I do think we missed it, but Heel Toe seems to have gotten around. He's on a tear. Joe Dirt hanging tough. Spiky Cactus starting to face a little bit of pressure, though, from Something Fierce. Something Fierce wiggles to the outside of turn 4. Doesn't quite get it done, but he is all over the back bumper of that BMW in front. Both of these guys very aggressive. You can see the cars trying to step out on all of these corner exits. Throttle is being applied as fast as possible, not as safe as possible. These guys are going for speed and not safety. As the pressure continues for Spiky Cactus ahead, just trying to keep the car pointed the right way and force a mistake from the car behind. Great battle is now Obscure Hi-Fi, your P2 point sitter in the championship, looking to capitalize as Fierce goes a little bit wide. And folks, the curbs in the rain are dangerous. Paint and water do not mix. They get very slick, but Fierce all over the tail of Spiky Cactus, just trying to find an opportunity to get the power down, and he's going to have it here coming out of turn 9 and down the straightaway. This is going to be his best chance. Jump in the slipstream, see if you can get something done before turn 1, because the passing opportunities are very, very difficult here as we now ride on board in the battle for P4 between Something Fierce and Spiky Cactus. The counter steering is insane as both of these drivers hard on the throttle out of turn 1. He's hungry, folks. You can tell. Every opportunity he gets, little bit of slide from the machine. He's getting real aggressive on the throttle. As we come close to the halfway point of this sprint race, folks. Again, this is not the full-length feature. These drivers have to play it calm and collected in the second race, but the first race is a frenzy to try to get ahead, and it looks like he might get it done. Coming into turn 5, he does. Spiky Cactus gets run wide. Oh, but it's not over yet. Down into the approach for turn 6, Cactus maintains the inside line, and that will hold the position through 6. Fierce tries to switch back, but doesn't have the track bite on those front tires. So now, going through 7 and into the chicane for 8, they are catching up to some slow cars. Traffic's really upsetting the balance of these cars around the final corner. Fierce is all over him, man. Just trying to find an opportunity to get by. And I think we're going to see another move going into turn 1. So you ride back on board. Cactus just trying to force the hand of Something Fierce. And work him over as best as he can. Fierce just trying to keep the car pointed the right way. Cactus is slow. This battle is holding these drivers up. The gap to P3 has opened up to nearly 7 seconds. I'm sorry, nearly 5 seconds. I apologize, I did my math poorly there. But Cactus not giving in. Folks, I do think Fierce has the quicker car here. But Cactus doing a great job of making that car as wide as humanly possible and holding up Something Fierce. Knowing good and well that the driver behind is struggling to keep the car pointed the right way. Fierce is getting aggressive on the throttle inputs, and it's really starting to upset the balance of that machine. This isn't the only race, as now CB gets around Chill Blast for P8, but Chill Blast answers as CB goes around from losing traction on the outside. We'll jump back to Something Fierce, who's on the main straightaway now, and I think we're going to see him pop out. No, he doesn't have the confidence in the car just yet to make the move. Pingu getting around Orange Hat on the main straight and into the approach for turn 1, but slides just a bit wide. I'm sorry, that's not turn 1. That was turn 6. But he seems to get it done and keep it done. It's Orange Hat. Hard on the attack. Runs wide. Not going to get it done and loses a little bit of ground. Almost spins. Is now Something Fierce closing the gap again on Cactus. Trying to find every window possible. Cactus not giving it to him. CB also closing in on Nikita, who is having an uncharacteristically poor evening tonight. Nikita absolutely rapid in round 1 and is currently trapped in P10, sitting half a second behind Soupy in P9. I believe that is a lapped car. No, it was not. Soupy ran wide with a mistake. Opened the door, and Nikita was able to get by. A little bit of a wiggle, though, coming out of turn 6. Managed to keep it. Oh, but Soupy, bit of a brake check there from Nikita. I don't think there was any ill intent, but the brake check really threw Soupy for a loop. Slid wide and into the barriers went your driver in P10. Now going to be battling some damage for the next half of this race. Something Fierce really trying to make something happen on the front straightaway, but just can't find the grip or the confidence in the car. And he will continue to set up another move as he is all over Spiky Cactus. Spiky Cactus, though, in these wet weather battles, folks, the driver that leads the fight seems to have every bit of the advantage as he peeks to the outside but doesn't get it done. Tries to switch it to the inside. Gets a little bit loose. The front end grip in this weather is very, very handicapped. He's given it everything he has, folks. It's really hard to say where this is going to swing. But he's trying. That car is dancing all around. He's doing everything he can. The amount of oversteer that I've seen tonight just from this driver is incredible. And it's been controlled. Much shallower exit out of turn 8. Switches onto the inside of turn 9. This might be his best run yet. Coming down the front straightaway. Something Fierce gets around Spiky Cactus and puts the hammer down. Already clearing nearly half a second gap. But Spiky Cactus looking to answer. He is not giving up just yet. Much more aggressive on the brakes. But I think that battle has simmered down for the time being. The next battle is Soupy over CB. Soupy sustaining a bit of damage just about 2 laps ago. Still seems to have the car pointed the right way, which in this kind of weather is a challenge. Trying to chase down the car in P10. A lot of oversteer here. The car dancing all over the track. Going into turn 4. Really fighting to keep it the right way as we have another car off the track. That was Nikita with another unfortunate and uncharacteristic mistake from an absolutely rapid driver. Doing everything he can just to claw his way back. And heel toe hero. A huge fall from grace. Qualified on the pole. Controlled the first 2 or 3 laps before the safety car emerged. And then had an incident defending on the restart and fell all the way down the field and has clawed his way back up to P11 and is now chasing Soupy for P10. And I think he might just get him before the lap is out. Shallow entry into 8. And Soupy goes wide and into the grass. Heel Toe Hero back up into the top 10. Trying to figure out what is transpiring. We have a car around. It looks to be Rigatoni there, and Joe Dirt starting to close the gap on what I thought might just be Merchant driving away from the field, but we were at a 1.5 seconds or so gap, down to a 0.5 second gap. As I said, folks, Joe Dirt was absolutely quick last week. Just had some unfortunate luck. Is now Nikita chasing Heel Toe Hero. A little bit aggressive on the throttle, and Soupy around again in the back, folks. I think he has sustained quite a bit of damage from that incident he was involved in earlier, as it just seems to be a challenge for him to keep that car pointed the right way. Heel Toe Hero facing a lot of pressure from Nikita now for P10. Nikita running out of time to put that car in the top 10 for race 1. Joe Dirt might be making a move here into turn 1. He's got a great run on Merchant. Merchant going to be trapped behind the lapped cars. He doesn't give it up easy. Merchant gets a little bit shouldered. And Joe Dirt is around for P1 in this race. Second place Merchant trying his best to reclaim the top step on the podium. Ben Grabo back in the background there, running a little bit wide and stepping out. Second place Merchant just trying to keep up and hope for a mistake from Joe Dirt. During this pass, we also see that Heel Toe Hero has gotten past CB for P8. What a fight we've got. Bit of a lockup there from Joe Dirt, and second place Merchant really hoping to capitalize here. Right on board with the driver who is currently standing on the second step of the podium, trying to find any opportunity he can to take advantage of the wet track and any mistakes that Joe might make. Joe handling the car with grace in such awful conditions. As we see, I believe that is Emin Crace off the track and around. Merchant dips tires into the dirt, not what he wants to see. And that's going to let Joe Dirt open the gap just a little bit. You can see him trying to break any amount of slipstream possible, but Merchant not giving up yet. He's going to bring the fight down to the checkered. Is CB not letting Heel Toe out of his sight just yet. We will monitor the battle for P1. But CB just trying his best to keep up with Heel Toe Hero, who had incredible pace and is now chasing down Chill Blast in the same livery. Can he break into the top 7? Folks, realistically, this is the last position he's going to have the opportunity to gain unless something crazy happens with anybody ahead. This is the closest car in the top 10. After that, he has a 15-second deficit to close, but he's really fighting. The track may be wet, but he's finding every bit of grip those tires can eke out. Very smooth on exit, very smooth on entry. Mid-corner, that car is completely and totally under control. It's another incident. I believe that was Ammon Crace again. Hard on the brakes. Into turn 5 on the inside of Chill Blast. Side by side on the approach to 6. Who will be bolder on the brakes? It will be Chill Blast. Responds on the inside. Heel toe back around. The positions are trading right now. Who will come out victorious into the turn 7 apex? It is Heel Toe Hero up to P7 from an incredible loss of position early in the race. In just 10 laps, he has clawed his way from 22nd to 7th. This is a driver that we will not want to take our eyes off of in race 2. Joe Dirt has fallen behind second place Merchant. There must have been a mistake. I thought I saw something. I blinked and the cars were in different places, but Joe Dirt trying to recoup the position. Merchant on the last lap saying, not having any of it. You're going to have to work to get around. Little bit of door banging and all in good nature. Joe Dirt gets back around second place Merchant, but folks, the Hail Marys may not be done yet. Merchant is still in striking distance, and both drivers very aggressive on the power. Coming out of turn 7, I'm sorry, into turn 7. Joe Dirt seems to come out victorious in that battle, as now second place Merchant has lost a great deal of time, and now the final spot in the top 5 is up for grabs as Spiky Cactus was beginning to face a little bit of pressure from Obscure Hi-Fi, who seems to have fallen off the pace just a little bit, might have had a bit of a wiggle. And that is race 1, the half-distance sprint completed. We'll follow Spiky Cactus to the checkered flag. Excuse me. And that is across the line for Spiky Cactus, P5. Joe Dirt will finish the first sprint race in P1. Second place Merchant takes P2. Ben Grabo, Something Fierce, and Spiky Cactus takes you to P5. Obscure High Five, Heel Toe Hero, CB, Chill Blast, and Nikita are your top 10. Sturhaus, Waylon Crace, Dave Coors, Soupy, NZ, Orange Hat, Tarka, Tactical Pingu, For Real, and Shadow Puck bring you to P20. Rigatoni and Ammon Crace round out the field in 21 and 22. Folks, what a treat of a race that was. And if you enjoyed what you just watched, we got plenty more. That was just race 1. We have a full distance feature race following this event. Drivers will re-qualify and restack the grid. Little bit of a celebratory blast up the hill there, as I believe that was Merchant who followed suit. Clearly the budgets for all of these teams are infinite. Ben Grabo running her home backwards. Fierce, another one of the drivers that took it up the hill. And cars now collecting in turn 1. The safety car did come out at the end of the race there, folks. Great race. And I cannot wait to see what we've got in store for the next. However, we will have a very brief intermission. So if you need to refill your drinks, get something to eat, snack, whatever, take a quick break, go grab you something. I am going to run a quick ad break, run to the rest for myself, see if there's anything I can snack on, and we'll be right back for race 2. Hello and welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the Can-Am SimSport DTM Championship. This is round 2, race 2. We're about to start qualifying for race 2 at Cascais in Portugal. If you're just tuning in, you missed a great first race, which promises to make race 2 even better. Been disconnected. Something happened. I am going to get to the bottom of it. Good old AMS2 server malfunction. Nothing new to see here. I will switch this back over to protect the password. Might have to reboot my game, folks. I'm not seeing any multiplayer servers. Okay, Let's see if I've got multiplayer sessions now. Got it. We made it in. Looking forward to an exciting race 2. It's 26 laps, double the distance. Seems to be a lot of weather in the forecast, though, folks. Rain, rain, and more rain. Series admin's really not doing these guys any favors with all the precipitation that we're getting. But boy, I tell you, it makes for some good racing. Once again, our podium drivers in round 2, race 1 here at Cascais were Joe Dirt, finished P1. Second place Merchant finished P2. And Ben Grabo finished P3, I believe, doing a pretty good job defending his championship position. Currently leading the championship, and that did net him 66 more points, I apologize, which will bring him to 198 points. Joe Dirt will be nowhere near... Oh, I'm sorry, not 98 points. 237 points. Will be... No. I apologize. I lied again. Yes, that's right. 237 points would be P1. Ben Grabo comfortably in the lead. His second closest competitor was second place Merchant, who in that event would have net 62 points, bringing him to 191 points. So, pretty healthy gap for Ben if he can continue to keep it ahead of everybody else. He'll maintain the championship lead in tonight's event. Round 2, race 2 just needs to be about damage control until we see one of these guys that want to watch. Ben Grabo, there he is. Must have woken up a little bit from the first round of qualifying. He did not get but one flying lap, so coming out this time to try and put down a faster time. Heel toe hero. Oh, and he spins. Heel toe hero almost spins in the same spot. This guy was on a charge in race 1. Folks, I would not count him out as a competitor in race 2. The rain looks to be letting up just a little bit, but the track is still very damp. Heel toe hero, though, very quick in race 1. Was our pole sitter in wet qualifying. Let's remember that. He qualified first in the wet. Led the first 3 laps or so. After the safety car period on the restart, defending P1, he ran wide and slid and spun. That plummeted him from P1 down to P22. From P22, he clawed his way back up to P7. Folks, this guy is on a mission tonight to recover every bit of points that he lost in race 1. Does seem as if we have lost a driver. I think we had 22 in the previous race. Not sure who we lost. Ammon Crace. It looks like we lost Ammon Crace. Not sure if it became a time constraint or an I hate this track in the wet constraint. Either way, I could understand. Heel-toe Hero now on his first flyer. This is a driver we want to watch. Coming through the kink. Very well responding car. You can see he's not fighting the wheel very much. He'll have a little bit of a snap here and there. But the car's really kind of bending to his will. Around turn 9. Doing everything he can. Put it on the pole. 46.433. That is your provisional pole, and he will get one more lap as we jump back to... We just lost another one. 2. We lost 2 drivers. Not sure what happened. One of those was Ben Grabo. Your championship leader has departed the session, and I don't know that he will have enough time to get back in. He will, but he will be starting from the back of the field. Not what Ben wanted to see for round 2. Gonna have a lot of ground to make up, folks, but he's done it before. Heel-toe Hero, provisional pole. Nikita, though, looking to answer with a quicker lap. Heel-toe is in the pits. Nikita will be his closest competition right now, and Nikita is on pace to best the pole time. Can he recover from a very rough race 1? Will race 2 go any better? It's going to start better with a 45.633. Nikita puts it on the pole with the last lap shootout. Merchant does gain time, but it won't be enough. Chill Blast, 3.3 seconds off, and I don't believe he's going to have time to complete this lap. He's moving very slowly. Playing it very careful here. Oh, somebody moved. And that's qualifying. So we lost Ammon Crace and Orange Hat. Bit of an unfortunate turn. But Ben Grabo starting P19th. The drawback, he's at the back of the field. But the advantage, he made it from P19 to P7 in race conditions. After a mistake, put him way far back. Don't count him out, folks. He is quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I am thinking of somebody completely different. Ben Grabo is championship leader. He's just got to work his way to the field and manage damage. This driver right here, absolutely rapid in race 1, and will be up against one of the quickest to do it, Nikita. Finally finding some pace and consistency in race 2 qualifying. Folks, this is the feature race. It is worth double the points. It is double the laps. And double the excitement as the clock will begin to tick down for these drivers and they get their heads clear for another battle. Second place Merchant will be looking to capitalize here on the start. And we watch your P2 driver of Heel Toe Hero, who I believe will have probably an ideal line going into turn 1. Clock is ticking down, and drivers have now readied up. We are green flag racing. Heel Toe Hero slow to get off the line. And the car already stepping out a little bit as he puts his foot to the floor, but he's deep on the brakes into turn 1, maintains P2. Merchant works his way up to P3, and Joe Dirt on the outside of Merchant in P4. I meant to ride on board with Joe Dirt, who is trying to make every advance he can in for P3. And he goes on the inside of Merchant. I think he's going to get it done. As they fire up the hill and into turn 4. Not quite. Joe Dirt doesn't get it complete just yet. The battle will rage on for another few corners as further back we see a gap closing between NZ and Stur Haas. And really the whole field. Grabo now up to P13 with a tremendous start and continues to climb. Dives to the inside. And gets around Tarka with ease, and now sets his sights on Spiky Cactus with a wide entry into turn 5. It's going to wash onto the outside and nearly loses the spot back to Tarka. But he's not giving up yet. As he begins to chase down Spiky Cactus. God, there are so many cars on the field and so much action to be observed. I don't know who to watch. Cactus chasing down Soupy. Really has a good run in the final corner. Can he stick the exit and get a run down the straightaway? It looks like he's going to try to take it, and Grabo behind him just trying to salvage any time. Grabo decides to back out of the inside line and duck into the slipstream of Soupy, but make the move late in the corner. Not going to stick it, but Cactus does get around Soupy for P10, and Grabo a little bit of a wobble on the exit of turn 1. Not going to be enough to phase your championship leader as he's now up 7 spots from where he qualified, which was no qualify. And he's really doing what he can to get around. As now Soupy goes wide on the exit of 4, and Grabo does get back around, chasing down NZ now. Cactus has worked his way through the field. Soupy just trying to recover everything he can. Obscure Hi-Fi now chasing down Chill Blast to see what he can do. And Nikita has stampeded away from the field. 2 laps into this event, we are already a 2 2/10 ahead from the rest of the field. That is where your race leader currently sits. And Hi-Fi not giving up just yet. About a half a second off of the race leader. Folks, the battle at the front of the field continues to stay heated. Your top 3, I should say P2 through 4. We've had a retirement. I don't know who that was. We have had one retirement. So now they start to accordion into turn 1. Second place Merchant really chasing down Heel Toe, and I think we might have just jumped over at the right time. Merchant dives to the inside, and Heel Toe gets a little bit washed out, and that is going to run him down to P4. Doesn't lose control of the car, just goes wide on the exit of the corner, and now he's going to be chasing down Merchant and Joe Dirt, who followed Merchant through on that wide exit from turn 2. And Heel Toe now really trying to get around, and Joe Dirt, oh man, they're just getting a little bit nudgy here. Merchant defending hard against Joe Dirt for P2. Joe Dirt gonna stick it to the outside, and Merchant maintains the inside line and keeps the position, but the battle is not over yet, as now Joe Dirt tucks it to the inside and fast up the hill into turn 7. He will get him on the inside, but Merchant hangs it high. A little bit of door banging from these two. What a race we've got in front, and Heel Toe thinking the better option is to just hang back and let these two drive their wheels off and let one of them force a mistake from the other, as now Merchant falls behind Joe Dirt. But you can tell he is setting up an attack into turn 1. Very safe on the brakes. But importantly, not any further behind than he was. Aggressive on the throttle coming out of the corner as Pingu continues to fall down the running order. Chill Blast and Pingu trading places here. Doing everything they can to avoid hitting each other. These two are going at it. Merchant and Joe Dirt are going at it. What a group of racing we've got. Folks, these guys are driving like it's a sprint race, but these guys aren't even a fourth of the way through the race yet. And they're already driving their wheels off. In the rain, nonetheless. Great run out of the exit of turn 5, and Merchant's going to take a look to the outside on 6. And he does get around. Can he hold the position? The high line's so slick, especially when you get onto the curbs, just as you saw Merchant did. They drag race up the hill, and Merchant just trying to pinch Joe Dirt every little bit he can. And he has a beautiful entry into turn 8, but the switchback from Joe Dirt, and that's now going to open the door for Heel Toe to peak, but he doesn't get the opportunity. Heel Toe still hanging out in 4th place, and Nikita drives away from the battle for the final 2 spots on the podium. You throw a blanket over these guys, folks. The racing is incredible. It is very close as Joe Dirt leads these guys again down to turn 1. Merchant much later on the brakes that time than he was in the last pass, trying to find every opportunity he can to get around. Pingu must have had an incident, fell from 6th to 12th. A massive drop. What an insane battle we've got for P2, folks. Joe Dirt really trying to answer his unfortunate week last week in commanding fashion. But Merchant not giving up yet. seems to have found something between the sprint and the feature that has maintained the gap and allowed him to hang a little bit closer. If you all recall race 1, the sprint race, Joe Dirt seemed to drive away from Merchant when he got by. But Merchant's really trying to hang on now, do everything he can to maintain the gap, but it is beginning to open. We're at about half a second, and it continues to open as the lap goes on, and soon he will be facing pressure from the car behind. We jump back to Waylon Crace, who is trying to catch Nuclear Pingu, who suffered a massive incident. Not sure what exactly transpired, but he's early on the brakes. I apologize. Yeah, that was. Crace was early on the brakes, allowing Pingu to continue to surge forward. Now Pingu chasing down Spiky Cactus, who also seems to be running a slower pace. What a race we've got on our hands, folks. Pingu going to try to make a move into turn 1, I think. Down the straightaway, he's in the slipstream. Peeks to the right. Thinks better of it. Dives back in behind his competitor. And decides to wait another couple corners. And now CB around, and Nate and NZ gets around CB, as does Grabo, continuing to filter up the field. Again, I think there might have been an incident between Grabo and Cactus, because both of these guys have seemed to fall off the pace much slower than they were early in the race. These are the guys that you can tell are probably praying for a safety car at some point to stack the field back up and give them another opportunity to charge forward. Especially your current championship leader, Ben Grabo. Joe Dirt maintaining second place and opening the gap to about 7/10 over second place Merchant. Heel Toe Hero hanging back about 2/10. Oh, I apologize. It's now a full second. Pingu chasing down Cactus. Really trying to work him over and find an opening. The question is, can he get it done? Just about a quarter of the way through this event. These guys now starting to think strategically. Maybe a little more carefully, as Something Fierce now starting to get in the mix here. Having a look at Pingu with a late lunge into turn 2, or 3, I apologize. And he seems like he's going to make the opportunity stick again, or try. Late on the freaking brakes from Something Fierce. And through the kink. And somebody is around. That is Ben Grabo, your championship leader, has spun into the gravel trap. Not the race that Ben was looking for tonight at all. And now the rest of the field filters forward as Grabo seems to recover back into P11. Not a total loss for the championship leader, but a big, big hit. Welcome to the chat, John, who says, love the Need for Speed Most Wanted's like livery. You talking about this one? I think that's the closest one I've seen to the NFS Most Wanted. Looked like it from behind, yeah. I thought that might have been the one you were talking about, because it's very similar. Joe Dirt has fallen down the leaderboard. Must have been an incident, and second place Merchant has filtered back up into P2. Folks, consistency is key in these rainy events, and Merchant has found some consistency tonight. Keeping it clean and tidy. As now Joe Dirt's got a lot of ground to make up. Waylon Crace chasing down CB. And Pingu not giving up on Cactus just yet. Still maintaining half a second or so gap. Oh, and there's a car around. CB has gone around. What is going on here? Crace slams the brakes in the corner and checks up everybody behind. Wondering if he felt responsible for the incident. Was trying to pull it back and let the guy back in front, but unfortunately that came at the cost of other drivers getting checked up behind. Something fierce now. The inside, or the outside of Dave Coors. And does get the job done on the uphill approach to 7. Ben Grabo trying to recover from an incident up into P11, or back to P11. Pingu on the front straightaway, trying to make something stick on Cactus, but it's gonna be a challenge. Cactus not given many opportunities to get around. Pingu is really aggressively late on the brakes, though, into turn 1, folks. He can close a very big gap right there. Seems to have a lot of confidence in the braking capacity of that machine and doing everything he can to close that gap down just a little bit. The battle seems to get real heated in the tight, high braking corners and starts to cool off throughout the rest of the lap. But don't count him out. Heel toe starting to catch up to second place Merchant. So right on board with your sprint race pole sitter. Putting on quite a show for us tonight, folks. I'd like to remind everybody, qualified on the pole in race 1 in the wet. Led the field for the first 2 or 3 laps before an unfortunate defense on the safety car restart. Merchant preemptively trying to defend the inside line. The fight's getting intense. Merchant's starting to feel the pressure, but Heel Toe is no stranger to charging through a pack, folks. As I was saying, right here, he spun in race 2 on lap 3 and went from P1 to P22nd in 11 laps. Not even 11 laps. He went from P22 back to P7. The dude has pace in the rain, and he can get it done. Now he just has to work over his opponent and try to force a mistake as Pingu continues to close the gap on Cactus just a little bit into turn 1 every single lap. Just doesn't seem to have the confidence in the car to try to take anything other than that main driving line. The track is pretty damp, very wet, saturated with what seems to be buckets of water that never seem to end. Now Tarka taking a peek at Waylon Crace as they cross the line. Can he get a move down into turn 1? He lunges to the right, late on the brakes, and with authority takes P15 from Waylon Crace. But Crace not giving up the position without hanging in there just a little bit, but I think the pace differential is going to fall in favor of Tarka. There is an incident in turn 4 up ahead. Looks like CB has gone around. Tarka maintaining a good defense, not letting the opportunity present itself. We've had another retirement. Still not out of contention, Waylon Crace. All it takes is one little bit of a wobble. The position will fall back to his favor. Pingu setting up a very, very offensive line, but late on the brakes. Trying to find an avenue to get around Cactus. Folks, we saw it in race 1. Cactus, an incredibly great defensive driver, really does a good job of making that car look like it's 27 feet wide and taking up the whole track. And Pingu just struggling to get around. I think the pace is there in the 58 machine. He just can't get by. Cactus doing a great job of putting up a great, clean defense on all the guys that have tried to get around him this evening. In the battle for P8. Sturhaus has gone around. I was going to say, I thought I saw somebody jump up the leaderboard a bit. He's now going to face a little bit of pressure from Ben Grabo, who will get around. And the cars with a little bit of momentum. NZ and Something Fierce. They'll be his next big contenders. It seems to be the tightest fight we've got on the field here, folks. That in the fight for P7 does continue, but it ebbs and flows. The gap kind of swells and shrinks with the track. You can definitely tell where each driver's setup is a little more advantageous than the other. I think Pingu's much better in the braking zones than Cactus, but Cactus really just working him over with a great defense. Pingu sliding a little bit wide on the exit of turn 2. But keeping it ultimately where he wants it. I imagine the patience is starting to wear thin behind that visor, folks. Just lap after lap, feeling like you're faster than the guy ahead of you and just not being able to do anything about it. Is now this gap back down to the closest it's been in a while between Merchant and Heel Toe. Merchant seemed to lose some pace on the back end of his sprint, which was 13 laps, and it seems that he is in the same boat now. I don't know if it's a tire degradation or what, but Merchant starting to slow the pace. Lap cars now going to be interfering, and the battle will continue. Heel Toe all over Merchant. With a big slide from Merchant on the exit of turn 3. And in the approach to the horseshoe for 4. Heel Toe is really trying to find a window, finding every opportunity he can. He just can't seem to make it stick. What a great drive from Heel Toe Hero tonight. In both events, not just this one. The gap begins to open again. Jump back to Something Fierce, trying to get around NZ. And NZ trying to get around Sturhaus. A three-way battle here for the final spot in the top 10. Starts to nudge his way. Gets into the left lane. Turn 6. Really great offensive line on the outside. Keeps it straight and planted on the soaked curbs and gets the job done for P11. And now begins to start working, chasing down Sturhaus up ahead. Trying to find every avenue he can. Second separating P3 from P2. Continuing to open. Pingu, I think there was a bit of a lock up there on the front left. Chasing down Cactus. Really starting to get impatient now, I believe. Cactus tries to defend. Makes it stick. You can tell Pingu thought about taking a deep offensive lunge, but decided against it. Through turn 5 they go. Pingu just trying to find a way around the car in P7. The car ahead, he's been stuck for so long. His pace, he knows he's quicker than this, and he just can't get around. Nice entry to turn 8 for both drivers. Really clean. As the rain continues to fall here in Portugal. Really good run out of the final corner. You can see the defensive maneuvers starting to take shape. He's going to poke for the outside here into turn 1. Can he get him on the entry? He doesn't. He's going to try to switch, but the car gets away just a little bit. And now they drag race down into turn 2, but it's not enough pace. Cactus will maintain the position, but now Pingu really giving him a run for his money. A little bit of door and fender banging, and there's a spin. The stewards won't take kindly to that. Pingu does not feel happy with that pass. He lets him by. And I believe that's Graybo behind who has spun. Not the race we want to see from Ben Graybo. Massive props. This fellow right here. Not how he wanted to get around. Pulled over and let Cactus back through. To try to get by the right way. Heel toe hero trying to work over second place Merchant again. This gap continues to ebb and flow, but does not go away as we've got 10 laps now remaining in this feature event. Folks, I don't know what kind of tire life we're expecting in this kind of weather on these cars, but Merchant is falling off of the pace, and Nikita is driving away from the field in commanding fashion. Graybo chasing down NZ. Might be seeing a move down into turn 1. He does. Takes a peek into the right lane. Late on the brakes, thinks better of it. and opts for a safer pass. Great racing from all of the folks here at Can-Am SimSport. Folks, if you're just tuning in, my name's Les. I am providing the voice and hopefully the best look at the action on track tonight here for Can-Am SimSport. This is their DTM Championship. This is a 6-round championship. Each event features a half-distance sprint race and a full-distance feature. We are currently experiencing the full-distance feature. Big lockup from Ben Grabo, but he does rocket past. But NZ gets back around. I don't believe that's how he wanted to get by. It almost sounded like he lifted to allow his competitor back past, because that was quite a dive into turn 8. Or I'm sorry, not turn 8. That was turn 5. But this is their DTM Championship. Each race event features qualifying, a half-distance sprint, another qualifying, and a full-distance feature. Features award double the points of the sprints. And what a drive we've gotten to witness, folks. And Grabo goes around in the back. He ate the curbs just a little bit too much, and that sent him around. Your championship leader having an absolutely tumultuous race 2. Not how he wanted to see this event pan out. And now the field has kind of filtered through. Sturhaus, I think, has made a mistake somewhat recently, giving NZ the opportunity to try to pounce. Trouble is, folks, this track is not getting any drier. It continues to stay damp. And thanks to that, drivers are struggling to get around. You can't put the power down. The amount of power that you've got and the saturation on the track just makes it very difficult to find any amount of grip. And speaking of grip, NZ spins on throttle application out of turn 5. Manages to stop it pointed the right way at least. He's going to lose a little bit of ground, but save a lot of time from not having to hit the wall and get repairs. Another wide exit. Folks, I'm starting to wonder if people are having a little bit of tire drag. Or potentially the track conditions are changing. Who is to say? Spiky Cactus, after a very intense battle with Pingu, maintaining P7 pretty well. Starting to throw up quite a wash for his competitors behind. That will certainly affect visibility for anybody in the tow. Very interesting to see how this battle unfolds over the next 8 laps. What a race we have gotten to witness. Bit more attrition here in race 2. Waylon Crace is around in the exit of turn 2. I think now's a good time, though, to give this guy a massive round of applause. We haven't had him on screen tonight because he hasn't really had to fight anybody. Nikita 10.5 seconds to the good. That's incredible. For a driver that had such a rough race one. And I say that, and commentators' curse is real, folks. Nikita has hit the wall with immense force and has decimated the front clip on that car. And now Merchant will be hearing in his ear that the gap is closing. Nikita will be battling damage, and Merchant now in striking distance. The race just got turned on its head, folks. Second place Merchant has an opportunity to win this thing with just a handful of laps left, and the car ahead having sustained immense damage. Merchant dives to the inside of turn one and gets around with almost relative ease. Nikita fighting with everything he has to defend that position, but he just doesn't have the pace. The aerodynamic bite in the car has to be gone. The front grip is already difficult in these conditions, and now with less aerodynamic bite, it's going to be even more of a challenge. And now Heel Toe Hero really trying to find a way around the race, the falling race leader. Merchant opening the gap to 0.7 of a second and climbing. Heel Toe now going to be striking, his parts flying off of the number 98 machine of Nikita. That was the hood that just dispatched itself into the infield. Heel Toe trying to pounce. Just not finding the opportunity yet. Merchant doing everything he can to defend and protect his position. Nikita not giving this up without a fight. He may be wounded, but he's going to take this one down to the wire. So we ride on board with Heel Toe Hero, trying to work over the driver who led the majority of this race. He's there. He is dogging it, trying to get around, and he will on the exit of turn 9. Nikita has fallen down to P3 after an incredibly unfortunate incident. And now Pingu back on top of Cactus, trying to find an avenue to get around. It took him a while in the last battle, and it's taken him a minute to catch back up. But I suspect we see him starting to try to act soon. And folks, Joe Dirt only 6 seconds off your race leader right now, and continuing to climb. In a few shots, you could kind of see him peek into the frame as the camera changed angles. Don't take your eyes off of Joe Dirt. Nikita not giving up the fight yet, and I don't know who that was that just darted across the track in front of Pingu. I believe it was Chill Blast. Seems to be fighting some incident. Very much damage on the front of that car. And he is holding up the drivers behind. Cactus gets through. Pingu gets through, but not without losing an incredible deal of time. And now we'll have to try and chase down the driver in P6 with just 5 laps to go. 6 laps of racing, I suppose. Merchant continuing to open the gap. Nikita falling further and further behind from the race leader. And within the next few moments, he will be in striking distance from Joe Dirt. Like blood in the water, he can smell the damage. Can he get a double podium? Race 1 and race 2. Nobody did it in round 1. Nobody double podiumed in round 1. Tonight we have the potential to see 2 drivers double podium. Does he have the pace? Does he have the speed? The focus to get around? CB now trying to line up a move on NZ. Close, but not quite there. Stave course into pit lane, presumably for repairs. And now Joe Dirt almost in range to make an attack. And it continues to get aggressive. Nikita doing everything he can to hold on to that machine. Joe Dirt driving with no windshield wiper seems like a bold choice, but if it works, it works. The wash from Nikita ahead makes the visibility very challenging. But Joe Dirt, not afraid of a challenge. Trying to get around Nikita, and he will get it done. I think Nikita yielded the position. No, Nikita spun. Another incident from Nikita costing very valuable time. At this rate, he just needs to go into survival mode. Bring it home in one piece. You just have a few laps left. The gap behind him is 30 seconds. He has plenty of time as a buffer. If he opts to stay out and drive it to the finish, he just needs to drive it safe. Keep it off the wall, and he'll be in good shape. It's now CB continuing down here into turn 1 to try to close the gap down on NZ just a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be panning out just yet. Still a few laps to make some final Hail Mary attempts, but folks, our race leader is on lap 24. We will be reaching the finale of this race sooner rather than later as CB on the outside of turn 4. Beautiful effort on the attack, and he will have the inside line firing it towards the kink, but he bows out of it. Falls back into the slipstream. Great attempt, and it almost paid off, but fortunately, nobody ended up in the wall or the sand or the runoff. And they live to fight another day. Or just a couple corners, as now it seems CB really trying to make a move into 6. Once again, favoring that high exit line. And he'll drag race down the straight and into 7. Late on the brakes, runs a little wide and shimmies the car off and into the gravel. Keeps it pointed the right way, but unfortunately, that will be that battle done and dusted. So we move on to... Guess we'll jump to your race leader, second place Merchant. About a 1.5 second lead over Heel Toe Hero. Just had an incredible drive this evening in both events. With just 2 laps of racing left, and no immediate massive battles on the field. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank anybody that's tuned in watching live, or if you're going back and watching the race after the fact, thank you so much. Really appreciate you all doing this, and I appreciate CASS for giving me the opportunity to broadcast these races for him. I've really enjoyed doing the commentary for these few races so far, and I can't wait to keep going with the season. Hopefully something else opens up in the future and offers me the opportunity to do some stuff for these guys, because the level of racing we're seeing is incredible as Merchant trying to dispatch some lap traffic here safely and hopefully use him as a pick to protect him from Heel Toe Hero behind. But I'd like to thank everybody at CASS for having me, for tuning into the races, whether it be live or after the fact. And hopefully it's a good bit of entertainment for you all. You enjoy what you see, because I really enjoy doing it. You guys put on a hell of a show. I can't wait to keep doing it. Merchant. There have been so many near misses with Merchant this lap. It is unreal. He just keeps getting one after the other. And he now crosses the line. White flags wave for the race leader. Second place Merchant. Here, Cascais. Somebody is around in the background, and I don't know who that was. It was Joe Dirt. And who else was that? Was it Stur Haas? It was Stur Haas. Very unfortunate, Joe Dirt and Stur Haas. I don't know if that was an incident between the two or if somebody made a mistake and the other got collected, but Heel Toe really finding some pace here in the last lap. Not holding back. And with a handful of corners left, one mistake from Merchant might just close the door on him. But I don't think Merchant's going to give it up. I think he found a flow state there for a few laps and really just kept the car together, kept it in one piece. And I believe as he rounds turn 9, second place Merchant will bring this home on the top step of the podium tonight. See, drives around the car in P16. That would be something fierce. And the checkered flag waves for second place Merchant in P1 this evening in race 2, the feature event. Heel Toe Hero will take P2. Joe Dirt in P3, the final step of the podium. Nikita and Obscure Hi-Fi will round out your top 5. Spiky Cactus battled it out tremendously in P6 with Tactical Nuclear Pingu in P7. NZ, Ben Grabo, and CB will round out your top 8. Chill Blast, Stur Haas is 11th and 12th. Waylon Crace, Tarka, and Dave C bring you to the top 15. For Real, and Something Fierce will close out 16th and 17th. If Something Fierce can get to pit lane, folks, he is without a wheel. Joe Dirt trying to help him out. Believe that's Joe Dirt. What a freaking champ. Somebody needs to get a King livery and a Lightning McQueen livery made for these two, because limped him across the finish line with one wheel gone. What a race that was, folks. absolute spectacle here in Portugal tonight. That was a blast. Second race thinned out a little bit, but the action up front was always close. And it seems to only be getting better from here. The championship fight does rage on and continue. That will be all for tonight's showing, though. These guys did a great job. Massive props to all the drivers that finished podium. Joe Dirt with a double podium, finished first in race 1, third in race 2. Second place Merchant with a double podium, finished first in race 2, second in race 1. I'd like to congratulate all those guys for putting on a show. That's going to be all for me. For all of you CASS guys that are tuned in on the replay, that'll be the end of the CASS portion of the broadcast. I am going to go over my stream schedule for the rest of the week because I haven't posted it yet. But tomorrow we will be doing our Formula USA Indy 250 with America's Racing League. That is tomorrow night. The warm-up session starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, so be sure to tune in for that. I believe we will have a broadcast up on the America's Racing League channel, so be sure to check in there. Wednesday, I will probably be in AMS2 again. I'm just trying to help boost the NASCAR series up and get it to a place of good numbers. So I will probably join in for that. I'm not sure yet. Thursday I will be off, and Friday hopefully we can get the group together for Sea of Thieves. I'd really like to do Sea of Thieves again. I hate that it's been such a struggle to get the numbers for it, but it's just a challenge that it is, and it is what it is. But yes, that is going to be all for me this evening. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's broadcast and hope you all enjoyed tonight's racing. It was an absolute blast to watch. But I'm going to sign off and wind down. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Take care, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night, everybody.